least to most power-hungry zodiac signs. Power is not just wearing a gold crown. Sometimes it is absolute structural ownership, and other times it is a psychological grip over a single person. We rank the zodiac from desperate freedom seekers to highly ambitious corporate dictators. Number 12, Sagittarius. This restless fire sign claims the bottom spot because holding power requires exhausting responsibility. They despise being tied down to a boring desk to manage complaining employees. Authority is a restrictive earthly trap designed to kill joy. If you hand them the keys to a kingdom, they will throw them into the ocean, pack a messy travel bag, and sprint toward unbothered freedom. They just want to explore the world without anyone demanding a status update, leaving the heavy crown in the dirt while they book a one-way flight to somewhere completely new. Number 11, Pisces. This sensitive water sign possesses zero biological desire to crush enemies or dominate a corporate boardroom. They view earthly power as ugly, exhausting, and lacking magical poetry. Ruling an empire requires making harsh, calculated decisions that hurt people, which destroys their empathetic soul. They prefer to dissolve into a curated fantasy realm, avoiding the suffocating weight of leading a chaotic human society. If you offer them the throne, they will politely decline, opting instead to write beautiful poetry by a quiet river while someone else runs the government for them. Number 10, Cancer. This nostalgic water sign wants control, but exclusively contained within the four walls of their own kitchen. They lack the cutthroat stamina required to dominate the global stage. The toxic politics required to maintain public authority disrupt their guarded inner peace. They prefer domestic dominance, demanding submission regarding what movie the family watches tonight, while ignoring power struggles destroying the outside world. They rule their household with an iron fist wrapped in a soft oven mitt, ensuring everyone eats exactly what they cooked, while entirely avoiding the exhausting, ruthless corporate ladder. Number 9, Libra. This aesthetic air sign despises the ugly conflict that accompanies authority. They want to influence crowds using flawless diplomacy and charm, but refuse to wear the isolating crown. Making a highly unpopular final decision triggers a paralyzing panic attack. They hate telling people what to do because they desperately require universal approval. They prefer to softly manipulate situations behind the scenes, avoiding the toxic public backlash of true leadership. They want to be the beloved darling of the kingdom, smiling brightly for cameras while gracefully avoiding the horrible responsibility of actually signing controversial laws. Number 8, Gemini. This hyperactive air sign views permanent power as an agonizingly boring life sentence. Dominating an industry requires an unshakable focus that their bouncing brain completely lacks. They simply cannot sit in one authoritative chair for 3 decades without totally losing their mind. While they love hoarding sensitive information to wield minor social leverage, they refuse the heavy administrative burden of ruling. They demand the chaotic freedom to change their life path every single afternoon. They might start a revolution for the intellectual thrill, but they will abandon the leadership role by Tuesday to pursue a fun hobby. Number 7, Taurus. This grounded earth sign adores the expensive luxury that massive power provides, but hates the high-stress hustle required to obtain it. They possess zero desire to claw their way up a steep corporate ladder. They refuse to sacrifice their curated sleep schedule or optimized weekend relaxation to conquer a global market. They demand unyielding control over their own beautifully decorated living room, preferring physical comfort over exhausting earthly dominance. They will happily accept the corner office, but they draw the line at answering late-night emergency emails that ruin their perfectly drawn, lavender-scented bubble bath. Number 6, Aquarius. This detached air sign desperately wants to rewrite the fundamental laws of human society, but hates actually managing the messy human beings required to execute their grand vision. They passionately crave intellectual supremacy, demanding everyone adhere to their advanced ethical theories. However, the exact minute an emotional follower requires basic hand-holding or daily guidance, they retreat immediately. They want ideological domination over the global collective, but refuse the exhausting reality of daily leadership. They will design the flawless blueprint for a futuristic utopian society and then hand it to someone else to physically build. Number 5. Virgo. This analytical earth sign refuses to sit directly on the illuminated central throne. Instead, they demand to operate as the calculated shadow advisor, quietly pulling every invisible string. They recognize that public leadership wildly invites messy, inaccurate criticism. By remaining hidden one step behind the figurehead, they wield optimized control without catching any public shrapnel. They dominate the room using razor-sharp facts, micromanaging the actual leader into total submission. They let someone else wear the heavy crown and take the blame, while they quietly run the entire empire from a flawlessly organized spreadsheet in the back room. Number 4. Aries. This explosive fire sign desperately wants the glorious, highly visible title of Supreme Commander, but despises the boring administrative paperwork required to properly maintain it. They view power as a thrilling battle they absolutely must win. They will demolish any obstacle blocking their blazing path to victory. However, once the war is won and they sit on the throne, they quickly become incredibly bored. They will abandon the kingdom to conquer an entirely new, exciting challenge elsewhere. They love the raw adrenaline of taking over the building, but absolutely refuse to stay and figure out the payroll. Number 3. Leo. This proud fire sign equates absolute power directly with unblinking human worship. They demand to hold the heavy scepter because they truly feel entitled to universal obedience. They use authority as a theatrical, beautifully lit stage to project their bright ego across the universe. However, their crown is entirely dependent on constant applause. If their devoted audience stops cheering, their power crumbles into pure ash. They rule with generous warmth and grand gestures, but they secretly need their subjects to validate their existence every single day, making their terrifying dominance surprisingly fragile if everyone stops paying attention. Number 2. Scorpio. This intensely private water sign craves a venomous, unseen psychological dominance. They refuse to broadcast their influence, preferring to own the hidden, locked underground basement of absolute control. They study their enemies for months, gathering destructive leverage to ensure absolute, undeniable obedience. They do not want to manage an earthly kingdom. They want to own your deepest, most tightly guarded mortal soul, holding the silent ability to destroy you with one single glance. They do not care about a fancy title or a corner office, as long as they secretly hold the actual kill switch to the operation. Number 1. Capricorn. Taking the top spot is this unyielding earth sign, operating as the undeniable supreme dictator of the Zodiac calendar. They do not want to manipulate your fragile emotions. They want the actual legal deed owning the building you work inside. They treat massive authority like oxygen, pushing through brutal exhaustion to reach the ultimate apex of structural dominance. Their cold-blooded ambition is unmatched, demanding inescapable corporate and earthly supremacy. They will willingly sacrifice sleep, relationships, and basic human joy just to ensure they sit at the head of the table, running the world flawlessly forever. Thank you for watching the video, and let me know your thoughts in the comments box. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to get all the updates.